Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Today we have another professional game of StarCraft 2 here between, in the bottom right, spawning as the red Terran player, playing for Team T Cup. It's going to be MarineLorD. And in the top left, spawning as the blue Terran, it's going to be none other than, all lowercase letters, MARU, playing for Team NV of course. It's one of the only players actually that doesn't have a single capital letter in his name. I think most players at least have one. Multiple players, of course, have more than one. MarineLorD himself has 3. The D there with a nice capital as well. It's a classic move when you're 12 and you're making your nickname. Looks cool. To have as many capital letters. Almost as bad as alternating capital letters and non-capital letters. So I'm happy to see he only ended up going for 3. I think the D in its big form does look pretty cool. Now we have a TVT here on our hands, as both players are opening up with a double gas opener, heading into a factory behind that, which means we're going to be seeing a, well, not necessarily an aggressive opener, but an opener with a lot of units. Not too defensive, at least. It's still possible to be defensive, but most of the time you're going to see at least one of the two players become aggressive. If I were to guess, I guess that it would be MARU, the aggressive one, as he just strikes me as a more aggressive player. MarineLorD is someone that likes to get the game in kind of the road that he wants to take it. That's how he likes the game to go. You know, he has a plan for the game and he wants to follow that road pretty closely. He can get off the road every now and then, as long as he can still see the road from where he is and then can get back to that path that he has planned out. MARU, however, is a little bit more wild. He's very capable of playing. He's probably one of the best late game players in, I'd say, every matchup actually. TVP, TVC, TVT. But on top of that, he also really thrives in chaos. Like, he is good when the game is a little bit weird, when the game is very fast, because MARU is simply one of the fastest average players in the world. This is a fact. It's not really debatable. It's a cool move here out of MarineLorD. It's going to jump in with 2 Reapers. We'll end up getting 2 SCVs to start with. It's going to end up with, whoa, with a third one. Not the greatest targeting. Doesn't end up getting the 4th as well. So 4 SCVs go down against 2 Reapers. Didn't build a Hellion, so this was double Reaper sacrifice into Hellion skip, into double Cyclone here. Is he going to be struggling here against a counterattack? I am not sure. It's going to depend on the micro of MARU a little bit here. It also depends on how MarineLorD is going to control this Cyclone. Second Cyclone is halfway done already. Let's take a look what's going to be happening right now. Here come the Hellions, here come the triple Reapers as well, but the Cyclone is out and MARU is actually going to run back for now and say, hey, I don't feel comfortable moving across the map. This was a 5-unit opener out of MARU, 2 Hellions, 3 Reapers, while it only was a 2-unit opener out of MarineLorD, 2 Reapers, no Hellion whatsoever. And these units, this is just kind of how you call it. You either can go 3 units or 5 units or 7 units, and this is units before you start producing Marines out of your reactor and you get a tech lab out of your factory. And this is usually how we name builds in TVT. And the earlier you cut these early Reapers and Hellions, the better it is for your tech and the better it is for your Marine count as well. But sometimes it does mean that you'll have a little bit of trouble with whatever it is your opponent throws at you in the early game. And here we're going to be seeing a 4 Marine tank drop together with 3 Reapers and a Hellion that are alive. Now we have Cyclones trying to move into position. We have a mine on the high ground as well. MARU is going to be heading towards the low ground though, and this Cyclone isn't quite ready yet. We see the tank being dropped immediately. Lock on top of this medevac. Tank's going to get a couple of big hits in. Oh, Cyclone locking on to this Hellion rather than the tank. That's a little bit surprising to me. 2 SCVs have gone down already. I think that medevac also fell. The Reaper is going to go down and tank is trying to move into position. I think that MARU can just see this. Yeah, MARU did definitely see that. This is not good target fire here out of MarineLorD. Also loses well, one of his Cyclones. Sloppy defense out of the French Terran, but in the end, worker count is pretty close. Raven count is very close as well. So all of this trading back and forth, I think in the end doesn't really matter. I'd maybe even say that MarineLorD is slightly ahead here, if anything. And he has a faster first Raven. His second Raven is on the way. Not sure that Raven doesn't have energy. He also still has a Cyclone alive, which does allow... Oh, so does MARU. So yeah, the game is actually almost exactly even. MARU's going to get the 3rd CC on the high ground. MarineLorD gets it on the low ground. And if MarineLorD is allowed to build a CC on the low ground, that might be a minor advantage. Going straight into 4 gas as well. And it wouldn't surprise me if if MarineLorD decides to go into mech from here. Now, in general, TVT is a matchup where gas is something that is required, and you'll need loads of it, because both tanks and ravens are very expensive. So you'll see the 4 gas before extra 2 barracks anyway. But it wouldn't surprise me. I've seen MarineLorD play mech a fair amount before, and I feel like if you're outclassed by your opponent, majority of the time it's best to play an asymmetrical game. So if you know your opponent likes mech, you play bio, and if you know your opponent plays bio, you play mech. That way, in a mirror-like matchup, it's a lot easier for your opponent to outplay you. But if you have different tools, then perhaps there's some knowledge advantage, or you can play greediums in some type of way, which can just be super useful. But instead, we're actually going to be seeing these 2 extra barracks being thrown down. Also not too surprising, as this map is very small, and perhaps mech is a little bit tricky as a result of that. Here comes a 3 raven push. We have a single raven on the side of MARU. But there is a bunch of Vikings out already, so the air lead is going to go to MARU here. Doesn't mean necessarily that he's going to win a straight up fight, because there is a crap ton of auto turrets here. Oh, Raven's going to take a decent chunk of damage to start off with. MarineLorD scanning right now. Needs to probably get something secured here on the high ground at the same time. Needs to be so careful with these ravens. First 2 Vikings are out as well now for the French Terrans. 2 more are being produced. We have another scan coming out of MarineLorD and another scan coming out of MarineLorD. I think his energy on his orbital commands is now kind of running empty. His refinery is going to get taken out, and I think after that this little push out of MARU is going to be going home. There's not a whole lot that it can really achieve here. Right? It surprised me if MARU sticks around, let me put it like that. So he has his extra barracks on the way, his upgrades are going. MarineLorD ends up losing a refinery and a couple of scans, and MARU is still the one that's threatening. Here comes MarineLorD's gonna end up losing this Viking, most likely, if MARU is paying attention. MARU always pays attention. Oh, now MARU might actually be the one in trouble. Good interference matrices, a bunch of turrets also going down. 5 tanks sieging up simultaneously. We have a land on these Vikings. Great fight here for MarineLorD, who's gonna be capable of taking out every last tank. 6 tanks against 1 tank, however, did lose 3 ravens. So an asymmetrical trade here. Units lost is in favor of MarineLorD. And as the raven count isn't that large for MARU, it's actually a little bit scary here for MARU. I'm not gonna lie. If the marine count was slightly higher, I'd be extremely afraid right now for MARU. MARU still has that air lead, has a superior Viking count, still has a raven alive as well, but his tank count is way inferior to what MarineLorD is showing here. MarineLorD also already has a fort base halfway done, which MARU definitely doesn't. Armory on the way for both players, and oh, he built a fort CC before barracks 4 and 5 here. That's a cool move. It's not something you see every single day in TVT. Fort CC for MARU is being built on the map because he believes he has map control. I'm not quite sure if this is true. MARU is missing his opponent's army. They're kind of going for a mirror-like move here. Oh, MarineLorD doesn't have the balls to continue. I think if he would have continued here, MARU could have been in a little bit of trouble. Instead, we see MarineLorD moving back, wanting to defend his earlier fort base. I mean, he does have an eco advantage here. He has a small supply lead as well. His 2-2 is going to be a little bit delayed, but his vehicle weapons is faster. And when I say a little bit delayed, it's literally going to be 5 seconds. So, it's hardly delayed, honestly. It's literally like 3 seconds. I take that back about the upgrades being delayed. Still down in Vikings, though. 7 Vikings on the side of MARU against a mere 2. And make that 1 right now. So another one gets taken out. I like these moves out of MarineLorD, though, trying to force something here with his marine tank army, knowing he has that tank lead, knowing he has a marine lead as well. He's trying to get something done. This fort base is already morphing into a planetary right now, and this marine is using a spotter. Look at the map vision that MarineLorD has comparative to what MARU is doing. MARU is practically blind at this point. Don't want to call him a mole, but it's getting pretty darn close here. He sees a small part of this army, and MarineLorD is too afraid to move out with this chunk, but otherwise this base could be in a little bit of trouble. Imagine just 2-3 medevacs with marines dropping here. could cost MARU a bunch of units. At the same time, MARU still has that air lead, so straight up pushing into a tank line is going to be practically impossible here for MarineLorD. MarineLorD, who has kind of given up on the hope of ever catching up in air units, decides to just continue building medevacs and says, hey, I'm going to be happy with my supply lead, but I'm never going to fight you in the air. We're going to be fighting on the ground. I'm going to extend my eco lead. I'm going to make sure that I have map vision and that I'm on your side of the map, because defensively, having a Viking lead doesn't actually do that much. I mean, it's difficult for MarineLorD to attack into MARU, but it's not like MarineLorD is going to die. MarineLorD is the one in control. Oh, he's gonna start actually heading into the natural. Bit of a weird move, as there's not a single tank with this. It's actually just gonna straight up drop into this. This is an awful drop. Good lord, this was terrible for MarineLorD. He's gonna lose a lot of supply. At the same time, though, he's pushing forward, and this was also pretty darn bad. Terrible trades here going on simultaneously. So MarineLorD saw his first trade and was like, I think I can up that first one, and decided to take another awful trade. Of course, not quite what he had intended. I feel like if there is some tanks in that drop, even if it's just 2 tanks, that would help so much just booster this position. But tank in a natural in position for MARU, as always, does help out there for the Korean Terran. We see a Corvid reactor, increasing the starting energy of Ravens by 25. We have triple starports already. 2 of these starports are producing Ravens at this point. And this is actually a part of the game in which MarineLorD feels pretty comfortable. I've seen him take out way better players than him in this late game Raven versus Raven scenario. He's very well aware of how to maneuver that army, how to control that army, and what the perfect army compositions are when you get in these Raven battles. He's very good at switching between armies. His unit movement, his scanning is really nice. Sure, in pure micro, MARU is going to outclass him every single time, no doubt on that. But when it comes to positioning, unit composition crafting, I think MarineLorD really is one of the most powerful players in the world. And I'm curious to see if MARU can actually beat him in that regard. Now, MARU does have a bit of an air lead, and that's going to make it difficult here for MarineLorD to even get into Ravens, because if there's 8, well, at this point 7 Vikings floating around and you have a couple of Ravens, it might be difficult to get something done. Also, the tank count of MarineLorD is practically non-existent. I think this is almost in range, but not quite. See an aggressive scan here. Corvid reactor about to finish up 4 Ravens on the side of MarineLorD, who's trying to kind of run by with a bunch of Marines. Marine count 62 against 24. This is a really good stim. It's going to be capable of taking out 4 or 5 tanks here for free. Oh, there's going to be more. He's going to get the tank in the back as well. 6 tanks going down. MarineLorD back in the lead right now. Already on 5 bases. Oh, wouldn't mind if he starts creating a 6th and a 7th. 86 workers. Superior upgrades. And MARU's actually kind of getting pushed back here. For a while it felt like MARU was in control. But with this superior Marine count, look at this. 77 Marines, 78 Marines, and there's only 3 tanks right now. I think that MarineLorD might have a timing to take out MARU. MARU needs to siege up right here. Don't forget that there's Ravens with this army, so the tanks can be interference matrix, and then the damage output out of MarineLorD might just be simply too big. Do we get a forward scan? Can we get a forward scan? Oh, here come the Ravens, here come the Ravens. Can we get a couple of interference matrix? 1, 2. Yes, we can. This is way more Marines for Marine. MarineLorD's winning this fight. Huge anti-armor missile, though, is definitely going to help out. Tanks in the back are sieging up, but MarineLorD is stimming in, and he might just have won this game, taking out Vikings, taking out tanks as well. 3-3 about to finish up here for the French Terran, and this planetary is going to fall. There's no more medevacs with this army. He's clumping up all of the Marines. That's not quite what you want to be doing, but he's gonna end up getting this base. 5 base 6 and 7 on the way as well, against just the 4 of MARU. MarineLorD is actually kind of outplaying here, and this is what I was talking about with that army composition. He just knows when he has timings with a superior army. I'm really not surprised that MarineLorD right now, for the people unaware, is probably the best AoE 4 player. Game that recently got released. He's a very intelligent player, and sure, not the most mechanically gifted, but still very strong in that department, but has a really good brain, really understands what he needs to do. His unit movement, his estimating of fights, and his understanding of how units function make him a perfect candidate to do well in a new game. Very reminiscent of people like Nerdshow, Vortex, who were not always the most mechanically gifted, but just so smart strategy-wise that whenever something new got released, they were always doing well. MarineLorD is pushing forward, pushing back really quickly, trying to keep the pressure on MARU here, as he's trying to build out his lead as well. With these extra command centers, we see a switch into more tech lab starports right now. Do we have a fusion core? No. I know it's not great, but I always love seeing a couple of BCs just being mixed in, you know? I know there's no use, but I feel like if you get a battle cruiser out, you've already won in my heart. And isn't my heart also valuable for these players? The answer usually is no, but I would love it if MarineLorD just throws down, you know, something at least. And this sensor tower is actually doing God's work. It's going to be capable of spotting this army before it arrives. I love that he's splitting the Ravens as well, by the way. This allows him to pull this type of move without any real risk. He can interfere in this. Whoop! Look at that. Beautiful move here. Gets the siege up on both of these tanks. Takes out the sensor tower. Preemptive turrets here. This is a very important base for MARU. If he loses this base, there could be an absolutely huge deal. But I think the planetary is going to be enough. MarineLorD focused all of his attention on getting that planetary. Ends up not getting it. And loses a sizable chunk of his army. 4 more Ravens are being produced. Continuous upgrades as well here for the Frenchie, who's still in a significant lead here. Once again come the Ravens. That Raven split being so important. The Marines are moving for a huge anti-armor missile though. Now he really does need to be careful. I don't think this is a fight he can take. Lots of auto turrets coming down as well. MarineLorD just wanting to trade. Not necessarily needing good trades, but just trades in general. However, this trade was so bad. I think if he could take it back, he would. Another issue right now is that his army is getting smaller while his opponent's army is getting bigger because he's going to be down in army supply because he has so many more workers. This means he's going to have a better eco, but he's going to have a less good army. There's some big anti-armor missiles, good interference matrix as well, and a lot of auto turrets on the side of MARU are actually helping out. 6-7 Vikings in the sky. These tanks are gonna come back online soon. Who did these Ravens belong to? That's all MARU, I think. 140 supply on the side of MarineLorD, who actually kind of lost this fight. Painful, painful. Raven count being reset on both sides, but the Viking count still well alive. Tanks now sieging up. I think that MarineLorD might just be capable of holding this with a cheeky SCV pool. Vikings could be landing. They're not quite doing that. Marines are moving forward. SCVs need to be pulled back right now. That's exactly what we're seeing. Oh, what a game. What is the... How many factories? 2 factories on each side. 5 starports on the side of MarineLorD. Still with the superior eco. Just has more bases as well. And has more orbital commands. 5 against 4. But MARU is coming back. Taking a couple of pretty darn decent fights. Still has that air lead. Still has kind of this semi... anaconda hold here on MarineLorD, saying, hey, you're not dead, but it's also going to be difficult for you to move, and every time you do move, I'm gonna pick off something on your side. Constant scanning coming out of MarineLorD here, because he doesn't have that air lead. MARU's gonna pick up and run away, and we're gonna see the unsieger immediately. Do we have any medevacs in this army? No. We have a single medevac in the natural. We have 5 Ravens on the side of our good friend MarineLorD. Looking for kills. He's gonna get these kills. Does he interfere in this? No, he doesn't, because they already get unsieged. Then we have a scan for it. A couple of auto turrets could be useful. Huge anti-armor missile. Beautiful play here. MarineLorD hasn't stimmed yet either, which is very important because there's no medevacs whatsoever with this army. Needs to be so careful now, though. Needs to be so careful. Oh, here comes the siege up. Here comes the siege up. Do we have another anti-armor missile? Do we have another scan? I don't think we do, actually. These tanks are moving in position. The CC is going to get taken out. We have 4 interference matrix. 3 tanks do manage to unsiege beforehand. And he's going to give up 2 tanks. Beautiful movement, honestly, out of MarineLorD. It's a big anti-armor missile. He's microing like a beast. Absolutely fantastic gameplay here. He's making MARU sweat for it. And honestly, maybe MARU is making MarineLorD sweat for it. I really don't mind MarineLorD's position at all. He's trying to push his advantage a little bit. Moving forward. Needs to be careful. There's a couple of tanks here on the balcony looking to shoot down. Classic move, of course. You kind of see that whenever MarineLorD moves, he's trying to cut off this area. So he doesn't want MARU to move outside of this top side area. And if he can ever get a tank in position before MARU is there, then he can take out a base. This is a beautiful move, though. Taking out 2 tanks here. Tank count for MarineLorD only at 3. Raven count is ahead, though. And this is the entire plan. To get a massive Marine count lead, disable all your opponent's tanks, and then have a very big Marine fight. And If that ever happens, I think MarineLorD wins. So it's all on MARU to always be in position, make sure the Vikings are there to zone away these Ravens as well. At the same time, we have a couple of Marine run by. We have Marines here behind the Planetary as well. And even though this does look like a small move, it is no such thing. I mean, this is 9 SCVs on a very low worker count MARU. MARU needs to rebuild these workers immediately. And we still have 2 extra factories. Where are they being built? Here. That's pretty cool. I like that. So he's gonna allow himself the quad tank production. Maybe even wants to add some Tors at some point. If ship weapons being researched here only for MarineLorD. Keeps adding more and more Ravens as well. Gonna go up to 10 Ravens. This bottom left side base is really dangerous though. Planetary is gonna finish up here top right. Feels like MARU kind of wants to bust out of his shell at this point, but I'm not quite sure if he can good scan out of MARU. This is insanely important. I think MarineLorD realizes that he got scanned, and he's gonna need to do something about this. Of course, his Planetary has the range upgrade, so it's going to be capable of shooting down these Marines if they get a little bit too close. Oh, big move forward here out of MarineLorD. This is his entire plan. It's going to be capable of taking out at least one of these command centers. This is the biggest anti-armor missile, literally hitting like 70 Marines at the same time. Good tank trades though for MarineLorD. It's going to end up losing the bottom left side base. He has an okay trade over here. Doesn't deny this base though. And at this point, you could say that the focus should maybe even be more towards that left side. Because that left side is where the new bases are landing. This base is almost empty. There's like 4 patches left. Maybe 2,400 minerals. But there's a lot of minerals, a lot of patches over here. As long as you can keep this base, your main pressure should be on the left side. And that's exactly what MarineLorD is doing here. He's moving into position. Good scans as well. I think he can cut this off. I do think he can cut off. He's going to go in though. That is a move I had not expected. He's going to get a lot of interference matrices. There's still 1 tank in the back though. A lot of these Marines are clumping up. But MarineLorD is doing it. He's moving in. He's sieging forward. There's still some Ravens in the back. And this is a dead base. This is a very dead base in my opinion. Oh, need to move back with these Marines. MarineLorD, hello? No, or forward. Just anything, but fight. Fight something. He was just shooting at a command center. He's gonna end up actually losing this battle. It's a trade, but he loses so many high value units. He's now down in units lost. I feel like if he had focused all of his energy on taking out these tanks, that could have been a win here. Or if he would have focused all of his energies on moving them towards the bottom outside of tank range, you can deny this base and maybe later kill this as well. You still have some tanks available. With this amount of air units, it can be hard, of course. 8 Ravens still alive. And once again, we still have 10 Vikings as well here for MARU, who keeps the air lead. The only thing that MarineLorD really is leading in right now is the amount of orbitals. Yes, he's mining from 1 more base, which is relatively secure. But the worker count is pretty close. He's down in tank count. No, wait, he's up in tank. Oh, he has the 4 factory, of course. Up in tank count, up in marine count. He's building 18 Marines at a time. How many Marines has he lost already? 343 Marines have gone down. 31 Ravens have gone down on his side as well. Oh, boy. Actual pain, this is a beautiful move again. A beautiful move once more. Now, there's a lot of interference matrices here. And there's only going to be 1 stim as there's 2 medevacs. That's it. Oh, focus. High ground, high ground. Can we get it? Gonna be going for this command center instead. But once again, this right side is practically empty already. So the use of this push is not that large. It's nice, but it's not necessary. You have a couple of interference matrix here being thrown down, and these 2 tanks are gonna get taken out. For 3 Marines are being sacrificed as well to the gods. In this case, the god is called MARU. 3 more interference matrices. MarineLorD not paying attention. Gonna absolutely headbutt into an anti-armor missile as well over here. And will need to retreat. 4 of these Marines are gonna get Kerrigan behind. But maybe they can escape before the swarm of Terran finds them. At the same time though, MarineLorD, this is what you need to do. Right side was a mere distraction. If you can take down this base, this is one of the last mining bases here for MARU. Would be absolutely huge. He is going to get it. And this position can be defended for a little bit longer. 1 more stim. Can target down these tanks. Can maybe even target down a couple of these Ravens. No, isn't even going to get that tank in the end. But huge move here out of MarineLorD. And now we have a completely non-symmetrical situation here, in which the eco for MarineLorD is much better, but his army size is just a little bit smaller, and especially when it comes to these air units, these Ravens and these Vikings, these important units, MarineLorD just doesn't have. Here come the Ravens from MarineLorD though. He's going to be losing a big chunk of the tanks. Needs to be careful with these Marines as well at the same time. Needs to be careful. If he survives for 2 more minutes, he wins this game. However, if he doesn't survive for 2 more minutes, then he dies within the next 2 minutes. That means he lost the game. Just some simple logic there. Oh, I think MarineLorD is setting up either a huge flank, or he's not quite sure what to do. He could try to pick off reinforcement with this little force here. I wouldn't mind that. Even try some base trading moves. 2 Ravens are going to rally into their death. Will land a huge anti-armor missile though, and this tank is actually shelling away. 2 tanks are shelling away. MARU struggling very hard against the French here. And here he comes. All of the units semi-synchronized. Ravens not in time though. Oh no, huge F2 move command. Oh no, MarineLorD playing the game of his life, but kind of ruining it here in the dying seconds. It's not over yet. It's going to be a lot harder though. 2 more interference matrices here as the tanks move forward. Anti-armor, couple of auto turrets. These tanks are going to fall. It means there's a single tank remaining. I have no clue where it is. Oh, it's shelling away here on the bottom side. MARU sees it. It's going to drop 8 Marines on top of that. That tank is a goner. Raven count is good here. The Raven count is very solid even. We still have 16 Marines being produced at the same time. And there is a slight income advantage still for the French Terran. This base is not a planetary yet. Potentially could be dropped, but I don't think MarineLorD is quite thinking about dropping at this point. Maybe dropping out of this game. Oh my god, every interference matrix is a hit. But is there even enough? I am not quite sure. Lots of auto turrets going down as well. Anti-armor missile didn't really hit much of anything, and the tanks are going to come back online. And I think that this might just be it. No stim on these units on the right side. If they were here in the fight, that would have been huge, but they just finished up. We have 1 more opportunity, and that's going to be it. I do believe tanks are in positions. Vikings shelling at these Medifex. GG gets called, and after a 27-minute slugfest, an insane TVT, MARU manages to take the win here against MarineLorD on Berlingrad. That was a really sick game. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you all next time for a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.